Was Need for Speed Payback what we wanted? It's a question that I find myself asking the community and myself ever since the game was released back in November 2017. This year has been such an interesting year to be within the Need for Speed community, and as well as it being such an interesting time for the Need for Speed series itself, it's also been a year of questioning Ghost Games' ability to make a Need for Speed game that everyone would accept. Need for Speed Payback was a game that was released to mixed opinions, where there were reviews everywhere from it being worse than 2015's game, all the way to reviews complaining about such small things, all the way to how farly improved, how farly this beats previous games made by Ghost Games for the Need for Speed series. But why is there such mixed opinions? Why can no one agree on one main point apart from the fact that this could have been better? It's been interesting to look over the comments that so many people talk about in the Need for Speed Reddit, on Need for Speed channels, on their own channels, review channels, within IGN communities, in so many different places. It's just interesting to see how mixed everyone's opinions on Need for Speed Payback is. One of the biggest things with Payback is the sense that the game was completely built from the opinions of 2015's game. But as we can tell, so many people disagree with Need for Speed Payback and what's happened with it, with so many of the different changes. But when 2015 was released, their opinions couldn't have been more different. And looking at the community currently, it's very confusing, as it seems like the community cannot make up its mind of what they want for the Need for Speed series, in which makes Ghost Games' job hard. So many people argue about the smaller things of the games, where the IGNs and the Black Panthers are going at each other's necks with some small disagreements, and furthermore, the cause behind this madness is also the same reason why the game cannot win. It is weird looking at some things that people said about Payback, and how much it goes against what they said for 2015. Most people couldn't help but go on about it always being night in 2015, but the moment we got to see the day and night cycle in Payback, everyone wants just the plain old night cycle from 2015. One of the reasons for that is the graphical difference between the nighttime mode of 2015 and Payback in a whole for its day and night cycle. Is the whole graphics, how different it looks, how much better the night looks. But with the game always being night, it made it easier to get graphics perfect for that, as the conditions wouldn't change much at all. Within Payback, it would always be changing, making it hard to make it consistent, to make it look beautiful all the time. A lot of things that people talk about being wrong with Need for Speed Payback are the same things that they complained that 2015 didn't have in the first place. A good example is the difficulty of the cops. Need for Speed Rivals was a game notorious for having extremely difficult cops. 2015, they turned that difficulty down a bit due to community backlash, or due to community's opinions over that. And in 2015's game, they made the cops way too easy. Need for Speed Payback, I feel like they're in the perfect position for the cops' difficulties, but so many people still complain about it. And then it doesn't help that in Payback, the cops aren't free roamable unless you get a crate. A big talking point for this game is the speed cards that have been introduced within this game. A lot of people hate this, and they think, and a lot of people say that with this being added into the game, it makes you need to grind races more. But some people also say that this is just a move to get people to pay to win. But in my opinion, I've played through the entire game twice, so I know that speed cards aren't that hard to work towards. As in my second playthrough, the YouTube playthrough, there is an achievement that you can get in Need for Speed Payback when you re-beat a race to get, like, say, more currency or some speed cards. The account that I did in the YouTube playthrough on does not have that achievement, because I never went back and repeated a race after completing it originally, just due to the fact that I didn't feel the need to. And currency is easily handed to you, so if you feel like your car is underpowered, you can easily just get some better cards with ease, because 90% of the time the cards at the store would always be something better than what you currently have. Not all your cards there would be better than what you currently have, but there's always at least 3 cards that you can easily replace because they're better. Now, I don't agree with speed cards, as they are unneeded, nor are they wanted in this game, but people aren't taking the time to just take a look into this. They are easy to come across. You guaranteed one every time you win a race, and you won't find it too hard to level up your car, as well as you won't, and therefore you won't be forced to regrind old races just to get more of these cards. The bad press on these cards are mainly here due to what happened to EA's Star Wars Battlefront 2 in the same month. Most people try to call out the speed cards for being more ways to suck money out of this. They aren't right, but they aren't wrong either, as speed cards you can't easily just pay for. Done with it. And it's also gambling to get the actual speed card perfect level, but you can easily get them without paying at all. You can pay for boxes with money, which give you the currency used in spinning a wheel to get card upgrades, which you can guarantee at least one segment of the card, whether what part it would be for, what brand it would be for, and what bonus does it has. And you can in this currency you can easily get by just getting rid of your old cards. Every time you replace one, you get rid of your old card. You don't just leave it in there or sell it for money. You turn it into the currency that you use to spin for more cards. And it's really a healthy, not healthy system. As I said earlier, this is something that people didn't want in the game in the first place, but it currently is. There's nothing we can do about that, but it's not like it was made in a way to make it so it forces you into buying something or for you to grind forever. Most game reviewers for Need for Speed games seem to always go against what most of the community feels about the game. To IGN's review on Need for Speed Most Wanted 2012, they gave it a higher score than 2005's Most Wanted game, in which to the community, Most Wanted 2005 was far better. It was by far one of the best games Need for Speed's ever put out in the series. Yet, it continues to happen for most of the Need for Speed games. The big line reviewers like Metacritic or IGN seem to always make a response that 90% of the community disagrees with. But this time round, the IGN review itself seemed to actually be heavier than normal, with it successfully pulling a part of the community to their side for people to agree with it. And what's worse is after Black Panther made his review, he specifically targeted these reviewers, these people who have been convinced by these reviewers, and started going off at how wrong they are. And now everyone is just at each other's necks. One of the key things that IGN says in their review of Need for Speed Payback, that it was 1 step forward and 2 steps back. This is something that I completely disagree with. What they say there is wrong. It wasn't 1 step forward and 2 steps back. I can agree that it was a few steps back from what the previous game had, but it was by far more than just a single step forward. People complain about the story of this game, but in all honesty, if you've ever gone through a Need for Speed game that has a full-fledged story, they're always cheesy, they're always cringy, they're not the greatest. But they do enough. The game's never about story, it's about the racing. The game mechanics have improved, as vehicles aren't as slidey as they were in previous games, but again, they're still not up to the standards that Black Box was doing back when they were making Need for Speed games. And furthermore, build upon this is the fact that they've now separated vehicles into different classes. You have your race class, you have your drag class, you have your drift class, you have your off-road class, and you have a runner class. This is an interesting mechanic, and Need for Speed Payback has been a different game in what the reviewers and what the community has said about it. The main question of this video is, was Need for Speed Payback what we wanted? And so what's my answer to that? In truth, I'm unsure. There is such a massive divide in the community about this game, and all in all, until the next game is released, we won't really know if this game has helped or hindered the Need for Speed series as a whole. Right now, it seems that the whole entire community has been affected by Need for Speed Payback in a way, shape or form, as the agreements, the topical answers to this is just so mixed. There are people who enjoy this game far more than 2015. There are people who hate this game a lot more than 2015 and prefer to continue playing 2015. People say that this game is crappy because of so many different things that they didn't put in originally. And what I say to that is, I'm unsure of this myself. If you made it this far into the video, I would like to ask you guys to embark on a journey through most of my essay content. If you're a fan of the Need for Speed game series, or you're a part of the community, I recommend you take a look at my Need for Speed mini-series, where I've talked about multiple different topics like the Golden Age as my first essay, and what's next for Need for Speed. And if you did end up enjoying this video, I'd like to ask you guys to subscribe, as I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. But till next time, Crazy Bear, out.